Hello guys, today we're gonna learn how to make Naruto's rasengan, and that's it, let's start. So, in order to create this effect, we're going to use shader graph, and the way shader graph works is that first, with shader graph you can tell Unity how you want a material to be rendered, and with this we can tweak some values in order to make some cool effects. And after you create that shader, you can create a material out of that shader, and with that material you can apply it to any game object in order to see how it looks in Unity. So what we're going to do is first go to create shader PBR graph, and here we're going to call this rasengan shader. Okay, we'll double click it in order to access it. I'm going to maximize this so that you can see all of this. And here we have the master node, which is the one that let us control how the material is going to behave. And here this tab is called the properties tab, and this is the one that let us see some variables inside the inspector in order not to have to come to the shader and change it manually here and then go back to the scene or to the inspector. And what we're going to do first is to add a simple noise node, and this gives us generated noise which can be controlled with the scale, how big you want it to be or how small you want it to be. And I'm going to set this to 50. So this is what it is going to let us control where we are going to have some emission inside our material inside our material. And as you can see, there are some black parts, very black, and there are others that are kind of white. And the way this works is that wherever you see black, that is not going to elicit, that is not going to give some light or emit, yeah, that's the word. That is not going to emit light. The black parts don't emit light, but the white parts emit light. And that's how we're going to try to replicate that kind of chakra flowing all over a sphere. And I want to have control of how black these dots are and how white these other parts are. And for that, we can use a power node. The power node, we connect this to the power node, the noise. Let us control how black something is going to be and how white. For example, the higher this value is, the more black we're going to see, and the lower this value is, the more white we're going to see. That is how the power node works. And after that, I also want to add a tiling and offset node. With this node, we're going to be able to control if the noise goes on the right direction or up or down. As you can see, with this offset value, we can control it on the X and the Y axis. For example, if we want it to go up, we're going to increase the value. If we want it to go down, we're going to decrease the value. Okay, we're going to set this to 0. And now, we're going to have a problem once we connect this to our material, to our base material. If we go straight ahead into emission, you're going to notice like a little seam here, which I don't like. Let me take this to a darker color so that you can see it. This seam, I want to get rid of it, and in order to get rid of that seam, we are going to use a position node. This position node will tell the material to show to the view the noise texture without having this seam. It is going to, and without having like this kind of unproportion where all the simple noise gradient comes together, as it is going to accommodate to our view. So for example, if we set this to view, from wherever we look at the material, we're going to see the same noise, the same texture that we see here. We're going to place this into the UVS, and as you can see, it is gone, completely gone, which is cool. And now, the way I am going to try to replicate that chakra flowing all over is by changing the direction of the simple noise up and down. And I want it to go up, I want it to go left and diagonally as well. So in order to do that, first of all, I am going to tell you how you can make it go up. We will need a time node. With this time node, we can multiply it by any value, which we're going to choose to be a vector 2. And when we multiply these two values, it is going to let us go up or down depending on the values of x and y. So when we multiply them, we'll see that if we hook up this to the offset, we're going to be able to see nothing. Why? Because these values are in 0 and 0. But for example, if we want it to go up, we'll have to change the y to 1, and as you can see, it's going up. Or well, actually, it's going down. If we want it to go up, it'll be -1, and there you go. So that's how we're going to make this kind of effect. And we're going to put this multiply node and this vector 2 here. And we don't only need the material to go up, we want it to go left as well. So in order to do that, we're going to duplicate all of these nodes by, you can select all of them at once by clicking on one node, then pressing control left, sorry, and clicking on each of the nodes, which is going to let you select different nodes. After selecting all of these nodes, all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nodes, we're going to hit Ctrl D in order to duplicate them. And now we want them to move on the X direction, which is going to be 1. This one is going to be on the Y direction, sorry for forgetting. And as you can see, this one right here doesn't move. And that happens because we are not multiplying it by the time. But if we multiply it by the time, it is going to start moving. Yeah, that's what we want. Remember to hook up the position node in order to get rid of that horrible scene that we can see. And I know you cannot see it right now how these one are blended together. These two are blended together, sorry. But we are going to do that in a minute. We're going to duplicate all of these nodes as well. Control D, duplicate. And after duplicating them, I want this line to go diagonal, exactly. And we're going to hook up the position node. And now, to blend all of this together, we could use two nodes. One is the multiply node, which let's see what's the result it gives us. Which looks nice, doesn't look that bad. But I prefer the add node, which adds in top of each layer. Yeah, you see, adds in top of each layer the, how would you call it? The texture, the noise texture. Well, this is not a texture, but sorry. Okay, and we are going to add these 3 nodes that we have just created. As you can see, we have now something that looks like chakra flowing in all ways. And now, there is like some rim light that rasengan emit, and in order to replicate that, we're going to use the Fresnel effect. This Fresnel effect, as you can see, is going to let us have that kind of emissive material on the edges. So we're going to add it again. Let's add all of this together. As you can see, we're getting that kind of result that we wanted at the start of the video. Now if we hook up this straight into the emission, you're going to see that it is looking like our rasengan, but we are missing an important ingredient, and that is all the chakra together in the middle, in the center of the sphere. And in order to do that, we're going to use the Fresnel again. And as you can see, the Fresnel only works on kind of the edges. So in order to make it work on an opposite way, I know this is not the best way, but it is the only way that I know so far. We're going to use the invert colors. With these invert colors, we can invert how something looks. We're going to hook this up, and if I click on the red icon, on the red option, it's going to invert everything. I want to reduce this because I don't want this effect to be that strong. Something like that looks cool. Now we're going to add these two nodes as well. So as you can see, it's just kind of building something with layers. Like if you put an image and another image on top of that image, and you can get pretty good results. But now, as you can see, our rasengan is gray. It's not a color for a rasengan, right? So in order to make it blue, we are going to use a color node. And this color node is going to let us choose what color we want our rasengan to be. And in order to mix it, now is when we are going to use the multiply node. If we multiply these two values, you'll see that we will get black. Why? Because multiplying this with black, it's going to give black. Oh well, basically the way this works is that wherever there is black inside here is going to be black in the material, and wherever there is white is going to be the color of the material. Okay, now for example, if I set this to something blue, you're going to see that it changes color, right? Which is what we want. Rasengans are kind of sky blue. Well, as you can see, this is looking cool so far, but it's missing something, and it's that emission, right? And in order to get that emission, you have to change the color from default to HDR. Once you are in HDR, you can choose the intensity of the color. For example, if you want it to be very bright, you can increase intensity. But I don't want it to be that bright. For me, it looks cool there. And now we are going to hook up this to the emission, and you're going to see that our rasengan is going to look like our rasengan now. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. But there's a problem, which is that rasengans are transparent, and this one doesn't look transparent. So in order to make it look transparent, we are going to go to the PIR node, and the PIR node, we're going to click on the gear here, and here we're going to select the surface. Instead of opaque, you're going to select transparent. This is going to make our rasengan transparent, and it is going to be controlled by this alpha value. And if we decrease it, it is going to fade out, as you can see. But we just want it to fade out wherever there are these kind of black spaces in here. Now it's hard to see. Okay, and in order to do that, we're going to hook up all of these layers that we have added up so far into the alpha channel. So if we hook up this to the alpha channel, it is going to be transparent just on those parts. And that is how you make a rasengan. I think it looks cool so far, but I think that rasengans are much faster. And besides from that, this color palette is not helping too much, so we are going to change this to a blue value in order to help it get that characteristic color. I'm going to tweak this a little bit. Let me see where I can get the kind of brighter. Okay. And now I know all of this looks complicated, but now what I want to be able to do is to control the speed of each of these nodes with just one node. And you may ask, how are you going to do that? Well, we can have a vector1 node, which is going to be in charge of managing or handling the speed, and we're going to hook up this value to the y-axis of the vector2, because this just moves on the y-axis. The other one is going to go into the x-axis, because this one just moves on the x-axis. And the last one is going to go into both axes as this moves diagonally. And technically, all of this should be stopped. Yeah, that is what I wanted. And now that it is stopped, before I increase the speed, what I want to tell you, or what I want to explain you, is how this node works and how this is making the alpha fade out on the black spaces. So basically, it's like if the alpha value, which goes from 0 to 1, is going to replicate that, but with these values, where black is going to be completely 0 and white is going to be completely 1. That's how some parts are transparent and other parts are not transparent. The black parts are the ones that are transparent, and the white parts are the ones that are not transparent. And now let's go back to our node. We're going to increase the speed to something like 2. Yeah, that's looking much cooler. Maybe 2.5. Yeah, I like that. It's looking cool so far, but I want to have control of how emissive this chakra flow is. So as a power node, let us control the simple noise power. We're going to create another vector1 node, which is going to be hooked up straight into the B channel so that we can control how powerful the emission in those parts is going to be. So let's create a vector1 node. Let's hook it up. You're going to be, come on, computer, don't die. You're going to be as well. And the last one, you're going to be as well. Great. Okay, and now we are able to control how emissive this is. You see, as I increase it, the power of the emission decreases, which is what I wanted. Great. Now that this is looking nice, I want to change this to a little more bluish color. I want to increase the intensity, not that much. Maybe there is okay. And now we have to save our shader that we just created. We're going to minimize this tab. And now that we have our shader created, what we're going to do is to create a new material. Let's create a material called rasengan underscore matte. And now we have to choose in the inspector, we select the material, and then we go to the inspector, and in the inspector we have to choose the shader that we just created, which is, you can see, is rasengan shader. And there you go, we have our rasengan material. And now we're going to create a sphere by right-clicking, 3D object, sphere. That's looking kind of nice, but I want it to be in the middle and a little bit closer to the camera. Yeah, that looks cool. And now we're going to select our Rasengan, where is it? Rasengan material. Oh, look at that. Oh, that looks like snow, but no, we want to be here. Exactly. Now we can increase how big this is, so it looks even cooler. And if we hit play, we can see that our rasengan is looking very cool and it emits light. So if you like the tutorial, give it a like and share it, and I hope I see you in the next time. See ya!